Welcome back to Court Vision. I'm Luke Backman here with my co-host Vincent Zakian. Hey, we're back for another episode. Hopefully, before the snowstorm. Hopefully, if you're snowed in, you can be tuning in, checking in some NBA talk. I'm Luke Backman here of Backman Sports. Make sure you like this video. Comment below, who's your favorite team? Well, what are you interested about? A little over halfway now through the season. Hit that subscribe button. My partner, Vincent Zakian, you can check out his channel, Vincent Zakian. It's also linked down below. Check out, he's got plenty of NFL coverage as the playoffs continue to roll on. All right, Vincent. So last time we talked, I think we might have recorded the day before the All-Star ballots came out. The starters were announced.
Yeah.
Well, I'll bring it up right here. Initial thoughts on them. I'll go through the Eastern Conference: Giannis, Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Maxey. Western Conference: Curry, Luka, SGA, Jokic, Wemby. Initial thoughts on the starters.
I thought they totally got it right. Um, the big snubs we've talked about are Anthony Edwards in the Western Conference and probably Donovan Mitchell in the East. Um, I don't think either of them, these are really guard heavy all-star starting fives with Luka, Shea, Steph for the West, and then Brunson, Cade, and Maxey in the East. Uh, I think when you look at it, especially in the East, like the argument for Donovan Mitchell, I think is really weak. Just with how important Brunson and Maxey have been to their teams, like kind of carrying the offenses right now for their teams. And then Cade is probably the best player in the Eastern Conference right now. And then I think, Giannis is like an auto bid. Jaylen Brown is playing the ball of his. You can't not give Jaylen Brown an all-star starter position with where the Celtics are. The Celtics are just unbelievable. They have one of the best offensive ratings in the league. No, obviously no Tatum, lost Porzingis and Holiday, like the pillars of their title-winning team, and they're second in the East right now. So Jaylen Brown's done an unbelievable job. In the West, people are always gonna, I think, hate on Luka. I think Luka's the people are. I think that's who people are gonna go after out of this because everybody loves Steph except for you. Shea's just everybody knows Shea's the guy now. And then Luka, people will be like, oh, Luka doesn't play any defense, and Anthony Edwards is an awesome on-ball defender, which is fine. And Anthony Edwards kind of got like a late push because he gave the Thunder fits about a week ago with a big scoring effort and some big late game defensive moments. But and as much as I love Ant-Man, I couldn't see him getting in here. And obviously Wemby and Jokic have to be in there, maybe the two most valuable players in the league right now.
Yeah, no, I think you put it perfectly. For the Eastern Conference, real quick, I know people were just looking at the stats between Brunson and Donovan Mitchell. Brunson, at the time of this, when this was announced, averaging 28.2. Mitchell was averaging 29.2, so a point more. Mitchell was averaging 1.6 more rebounds per game. Brunson was zero point 0.4 assists per game better than Spider. I think it's as simple as, hey, Brunson, and again, this was a little before this huge streak that the Knicks have been losing streak, but Brunson was playing MVP caliber basketball for a while, and then he injured himself. It was out for a few games. The Knicks went on this losing streak. I mean, the Cavaliers in a wide open Eastern Conference before the season started. Both you and I said it's the Knicks and the Cavs are the two teams above everybody else. I mean, while the Knicks have
Yeah,
shown signs of being on that top tier in the Eastern Conference, they've also shown other signs, but the Cavaliers have never shown signs of being on that top tier. I think right now
totally,
they're
totally.
fifth in the East. They've been in the seventh for
Six.
six. Okay, yeah, they've been fluctuating between the two. Like they very easily can be a play-in team this year, and I think that kind of hurts Donovan Mitchell's case a little bit. When you were the number one team in the East last year, you're bringing back virtually, basically the entire team. And then you come back this year and your team's just hasn't had the same success. And it's not all on Donovan Mitchell. He's played one heck of a year. But I think when you
Yeah.
look at it like that, it's going to be tough to give him an all-star starter bid over Jalen Brunson, whose Knicks have been playing well other than this last, 10-game stretch that they've been on. And then you mentioned it with Ant-Man in the West. I mean, to be fair, Ant and Wemby actually tied. It went down to a fan vote. That was the tiebreaker.
hmm
Wemby had more fan votes. I think for Anthony Edwards, it's unfortunate for him because these one more open starter spot, it'll become open, yeah, when Steph Curry retires. Like Curry's one of
Yeah.
those guys that he's playing good, and he gets the
Yeah.
fan vote. He's a legend, While LeBron is still, a legend, he's kind of, 41 years old, taking a little step back. So that's why he's not in the mix. Curry's still playing at a, really high level, and he's got the fan support. So when Curry eventually retires, that's when one of these extra guard spots will become open. But until he does, it's going to be locked down for, Ant, Luka, and Shea, kind of those three, unless a new guy comes into the mix. To fight for those two spots because Curry's already got one spot down. So again, it's one of those things that's, yes, there's always going to be snubs, but when you look at the list, who are you going to take out? And it's hard to look at both of these starting lineups and be like, oh, I'm taking this guy out for this guy. It just doesn't work. And props to Tyrese Maxey, one heck of a year so far, and Cade Cunningham, both guys in the East. I mean, you look at both of them. I love Jalen Brunson. I'm, obviously biased for Jalen Brunson. Cade Cunningham has been better than Jalen Brunson. Look at where his team is. And, Tyrese Maxey at Spurs has been extremely good and, on the same level as Jalen Brunson. I'd still take JB at the moment, but it's right there. I know you, the
No
76ers
way.
fan, you're saying something different. But, as the biased Knicks fan, it's been those three guards in the East have been phenomenal. Yeah. Then, of course, you got Giannis, and then shout out to Jaylen Brown, which you did. So, again, I'm not mad at it. Who knows? Maybe Jokic is injured for the All-Star game and Ant gets that spot, right? He gets the starter spot. It is what it is. I'm not mad at it. I know people are, saying Ant and Donovan Mitchell, hey, it is what it is. Who are you going to take out? And I think they got him right with the starters.
Did you see, well, first of all, it's interesting with Donovan, and obviously the season's not over yet, so we'll see how his numbers shake out. He's up 5 points per game from last season, which is a ton. His scoring, took a huge step back last year because the rest of the team was playing much better and they played really good basketball. And now something's really wrong with the Cavs. They don't get the looks they used to get, and they don't knock down the looks like they used to get pretty much. And so it's
I think part of that is also Darius Garland. He's been in and out of the lineup
totally
the entire year. And so, I mean, it kind of at the end of last year, that's what stopped their playoff run. Mm-hmm. Also, the Indiana Pacers and Halliburton. But I think Garland's injuries have kind of piled over onto this season as well, and that's Donovan Mitchell. You got to score more for us without our starting point guard.
Exactly. So Donovan going up is kind of a negative thing as far as team success because it's out of necessity. Did you see Wemby wants everyone to play hard in the All-Star game? Did you see that? He was like, I'm gonna do it. He was like, I'm gonna do it, and I hope everyone else does it.
I didn't see it, but I'm not surprised. I mean, if that sounds like one of the most Wemby quotes out there. I mean, he's
the Messiah. He's the most ethical hooper. I love him so much. And now he's bald again. Do you see he's bald again? Maybe had a visit with the monks again.
He went with Keldon Johnson, right? I think they both went bald. The Spurs were just like, hey, let's just go bald. I mean,
I think he's starting his own religion. I think. Wembyism.
He's going to get San Antonio, those people are going to follow Wemby wherever he goes. I mean, if he starts whatever, they're going to follow. But I mean, unfortunate for Ant and Donovan Mitchell. Vincent, are you aware of what the All-Star game format is this year?
Oh, man, I forgot. Tell me.
It's U.S. versus World, which I'm not mad at, right?
That's right, yeah.
I'm not mad at, but I'm looking at NBC's article here when they announced the starters. Total of 24 players, so there's going to be 14 extra reserves. Then it's going to be divided up into 3 teams of 8 players each. One of those teams will represent the world, while the other 2 are American players. The actual All-Star game will be, in fact, played in 4 separate games, each totaling 12 minutes. The first 3 give each opportunity to play each other, and then at the end of the games, the 2 teams with the best record will head into a final 12-minute game to determine the All-Star champion.
That's wow.
Yeah. Now, if you remember last year, I remember watching last year, and it was simpler. It was like, okay, we're gonna have 4 teams, and they're gonna play 12 minutes, and Kenny Smith was the coach of one, and he was like, I'm picking all the young guys, and then he had Brunson, who's 28 as a starting point guard. And you're like, what? But I remember watching it last year. There was more commercials than actual basketball being played. In the middle of 2 games, they had Mr. Beast and Kevin Hart shoot half-court shots to win money. The All-Star game has always been a problem not always been a problem. It was good 2020 when people were trying. It's not always been a problem, but as of recently, it's been a huge problem for the NBA. I mean, I think they made the right call going U.S. versus World. Like, yeah, let's see this. But I hate the format of four different teams playing each other and then it's 12-minute court. Like, I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. Maybe Adam Silver, is cooking something up. But reading it off, the article, I'm not too
Yeah,
excited
I
for it.
everyone always talks about, that 2020 All-Star game right after Kobe died where they did like first to 24 in the fourth quarter. Then that was like perfect, and you really got to see like who are the really good players in the league at that moment, all up
Mhm.
against each other. I have no expectations for what this is gonna be. Like they never like there's never fewer commercials, right? And there's never like fewer
Right.
like brand activations and things like that.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I fear for it. But as far as like the accolade of being an all-star goes, it's still at least it's still important in that sense that you're an all-star starter.
100%. Segue here as another guy that was talked about. Oh, should he get kind of, I'll just say charity nod as a starter? Is LeBron James. And I love LeBron. One, I don't think so. He didn't. So there we go. He did not. Well, maybe if he announced it was his final season, maybe it would be a little more
Yeah.
enticing. But you can't do it, and then he's saying, "Oh, I'm playing next year." Like that wouldn't make sense. But LeBron's a guy that people are like, "Oh, you should just give him a starter spot." He didn't get a starter spot. I don't think he's angry. I think he's going to enjoy finally having a break. First time in 20 years or whatever, All Star Weekend. But his name was also in the news for a lot of different reasons. That was because an article about Jeanie Buss and really the whole Buss family, their drama, like basically succession in real life for a
hmm
basketball team, came out, and it was Jeanie Buss saying she thought LeBron should have been more grateful for them picking Bronny. She didn't want to extend him. She wanted to trade him. She didn't really like his ego. All this comes out about last couple of days. Your reaction, Vincent, to the article, and I know LeBron's responded, Draymond Green's responded, of course. Like it's what do you make of all this?
First of all, the article was written by Baxter Holmes of ESPN, so shout out to him. Great read. Um, Luke, we have both some kind of understanding of how the Lakers run their business. What do they always say, Luke, about how they run their business?
Tell me.
It's a family
Oh,
business.
okay, yeah, it's a family. Well, I was, yeah.
It's a
Not
family
anymore.
business. Not anymore. They sold, but they hadn't sold when they got LeBron
Mm-hmm.
and after they won the title. And I think it's natural for you to feel like, even though you let, I'm not calling Rich Paul and Clutch Sports a fox, but you let the fox into the hen house,
Mm-hmm.
when you signed LeBron. Um, if you run it like a family business, then you're gonna feel like when Rich Paul starts calling the shots, which he absolutely was, while LeBron was still one of the best players in the league, you're gonna feel intruded upon. So I understand why they felt that way. But the gratitude thing, I have no room for the gratitude thing.
Mm-hmm.
For like demanding that LeBron like be grateful. Do you remember how bad the Lakers were before
Yes.
LeBron got there? They were
Mm-hmm.
the worst team in the league for nearly a decade, like
Yeah.
7 years. Like Kobe's prime ended. They didn't hit on any of the high draft picks, right? Julius Randle was not good there. D'Angelo Russell was not good there. Josh
They
Hart
tried to
wasn't good
bring
there.
in
Like,
they they tried to bring in Steve Nash and Dwight Howard, and we're like, oh, we're bringing the super team back in like the
yep,
early 2010s, and by mid-season, Kobe hated Dwight. Steve Nash was injured. They had to blow it all. Like they brought Jeremy Lin in because they thought Jeremy Lin could make a difference. Like that's how starving that team was. The Lakers, the franchise was.
totally. And that was really like the beginning of the end of it. And then LeBron came in and brought Clutch with him and brought Anthony Davis with him eventually and won the Lakers a title and bought them some time. And now things are going badly again. And they've pretty much had to sell the team because the buses can't compete with the other owners, right?
Mm-mm.
And that's just kind of going to be what it is. But the idea that they're expecting like LeBron to be grateful to them is mind-boggling to me. And they're going right back to being. I mean, they got lucked out on the Luka deal and everything like that, but the the personnel moves they were making before LeBron, like it was all bad. And
Mm-hmm.
it would go back to being that way had they not found this Luka Doncic trade.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was watching the first half of the Lakers Clippers game last night. I wish I stayed up for the second half because the Lakers made a nice little comeback, but the Clippers ended up winning. But watching that game, and Anthony Reeves, Austin Reeves, excuse me, was out. He was injured. That Lakers team is so poorly constructed. Like it is such
Yeah,
a bad roster, other than Luca and LeBron. It's like unbelievable that that's the team they can put. And obviously, contracts after all this, but it's like I'm watching DeAndre Ayton smoke two layups and then not be able to get a board. The same possession. Luka throws
yeah,
him a perfect lob. He like hits it off the backboard. Luka's already like head down. He gets his like offensive rebound, misses another point blank layup, comes down on the other end. Shot goes up. Whoever Zubac or whatever grabs
Zubats.
the board, puts it up. Yeah, Zubac puts it up, misses again. It was one of the worst possessions I've ever seen. It was like, well, that was like their big offseason guy, like
Yeah,
DeAndre Ayton. We called this from the get go. It was going to be awful.
never gonna work. Yeah,
Never. It's like the fact that Jeanie Buss thought that. I think your point was perfect. That LeBron should just come in and be like, "Oh, I'm so grateful you guys gave me this opportunity." Like, man, the Lakers were non-existent. Like when you look at when people were talking to all like the Knicks history as a Knicks fan, we have been the butt of the joke for so many years. The Lakers were that bad with us, like for those years,
yeah,
for the last like early 2010s. Like they were as bad as the Knicks through that stretch. They just also had Kobe. So like the 2016 season, they were terrible, but they got Kobe's farewell retirement tour. So that kind of mask it. They were terrible. And you win the bubble championship, and then the next year LeBron gets injured, then you blow it up, and it just hasn't been the same for the Lakers. I know the brothers have been fighting about who should get what
yeah.
position. Then they're just like, all right, we're gonna sell it. Like I think what it was $10 billion deal
Hmm.
or something like that, something ridiculous. So at the end of the day, maybe it's for the best. It's just I don't know. To come in and say, "Oh, LeBron should be grateful," I think it kind of should be the flip flop because LeBron could have went
Totally.
anywhere. He was a free agent. Remember, he could have went anywhere, and he chose. Let me go to L.A. He goes to L.A. Remember, he didn't come in first year guns a blazing with Clutch. He came in with the
Oh,
young guys,
that
with
team
Lonzo Ball, with Kyle
with
Kuzma,
Lance Stevenson.
with like Brandon Ingram. Like they came in. They actually were the one seed until LeBron went
That's
down
right.
on Christmas Day, or the two seed. They were actually
Yeah,
a pretty solid team, and then they were terrible the rest of the year. Half of it was plagued probably because it was, oh, when is all these young guys getting shipped out for AD, right? And maybe that's where she
yeah,
gets, Clutch. But like, he didn't come in first off season saying, "Hey, Clutch Sports, we are revamping everything." No, he went through the season. Yeah, there was rumors. There's always rumors with the Lakers, and then he said, "All right, I'm gonna get AD, and guess what? You
yeah.
guys won a championship." So for her to just come out and she's obviously denying everything, but it's kind of ridiculous. Like it's just really, you think he should be grateful for you giving him this opportunity? It just doesn't. It's not right. It's
That was
just
the
what,
greatest
what,
thing
what
ever
do you
when
say?
like LeBron got hurt and they signed Lance Stevenson off the street. Remember that? That was a fun time. But
Yeah. Yep.
yeah. And like as if like them bringing in Anthony Davis or like any of the stuff Clutch did was anything that they like wouldn't have done if they could have without LeBron. Like obviously it was a great
Hmm.
move to bring in Anthony Davis and like win yourself a title. I mean the reality is post Dr. Jerry's passing, uh Lakers haven't been particularly well run. And so
Yep.
basically brought in Clutch to beef up their personnel department for a while, and they got what they could out of it. But now uh, things are going to change.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. No. Very strange. I mean, LA this year's to a degree stayed out of the news. I mean,
Yeah.
they've played solid basketball. Luka's been good. LeBron's been, he's been fine for 41 years old. Um, does anyone think they're making a legit playoff run? No, they'll be second round exit at best, I think. I mean, maybe they'll get past their first round series, but probably
Mhm.
second round they'll meet their makers and be eliminated. I don't know, but yeah, this has been, this feels like a typical LA type drama storyline. Uh, it is what it is. I feel like everything will be put to bed in the next week. I mean, LeBron's already reacted to it. Jeanie Buss, like it is what it is. Let's flip it over to the East. Your 76ers played one heck of a game last night, defeating the Houston Rockets. Should have probably beat them in regulation. KD had a goaltending call that wasn't called, so it went to OT. 76ers do end up getting the win. What are you watching? What are you looking at? What are you liking so far? These 76ers, obviously, we talked about Maxey, all-star starter. What are you seeing in your team so far?
Well, the vibes are so awesome right now. Like, and you can tell in the building, like the fans watching the game, they really they like this team. I don't think they think they're like a championship contender. I'll get to their ceiling in a second. First of all, on the goaltend play, who does Maxey go by? Who does he go by? He goes by the best on-ball defender in the league. Amon Thompson picks him up basically at the logo. Maxey goes right by him, just like glides to the cup, lays it off the glass, and it gets, illegally blocked, but whatever. And the game goes to overtime. Big Kelly Oubre night. Big night for the entire five. So this is the thing with the Sixers, and I'm going to pull up their minutes here because the entire Maxey leads the league in minutes per game, as we know. Like the Nick Nurse is, I kind of know there's an injury on the horizon for Tyrese Maxey. Like it's just kind of going to happen. But last night, Edgecombe played 40 minutes, Maxey played 43, Oubre played 41, Embiid played 46, and Paul George played 37. And then no one on the bench played more than 21. So they basically trotted out a good starting five, by the way, with Maxey, VJ, Oubre, PG, and Embiid. But that's like none of this is sustainable. Like none of it. And I'm like trying to talk myself. I'm watching this game last night, and they beat a really good Rockets team, a team that I think is really good. And I'm like starting to think about like what could the ceiling for this team be in the playoffs. And it's like, hey, if we turned off injuries and like stamina, then yeah, this starting five would probably be up there with a lot of starting fives in the league. I think it's a really solid group, but that's just not going to happen. I did appreciate the guys who didn't have good scoring nights. Like Oubre had a big night. Obviously, Embiid and Maxey had big scoring nights, but VJ and Paul George didn't. But they made like all of the hustle plays, especially down the stretch. Like Paul George just looked like a really high level role player with the defense he was playing. He had a great block on Şengün. He had a really nice interception, got it ahead to Maxey. And so I like that a lot. Edgecombe, even in a bad scoring night, just makes incredible plays. Like his athleticism is just unbelievable. Can't say enough about Maxey. Maxey, by the way, leads the league in total stocks, which is steals plus blocks.
Oh, wow.
Per game, he's just got a lot of steals. Per game, he's only behind Wemby, which is crazy because obviously Wemby leads the league in blocks per game. In a weak East, I am talking myself into the conference finals though, which I shouldn't do, which I just shouldn't do because like chances are obviously Embiid's gonna get hurt, Paul George will get hurt, and if Maxey keeps getting 40 plus minutes per game, he's probably gonna get hurt. So someone needs to tell Nick Nurse to just kind of chill because right now we're doing like Tibbs minutes right now, and granted, look, Tibbs minutes might look all right these days with what the Knicks are putting together, but I certainly don't want it. I've never been a fan of how Tibbs plays his guys too much. But when you look at the Sixers' depth, you kind of get it. I also sent McCain back down to the G League. Like it's just it's just a lot of like Quentin Grimes and Dominic Barlow coming off the bench for them. Extremely thin in the front court, but a really fun team to watch when everybody's like healthy and playing well, and there is value in that. Kevin Durant was unreal in this game every time. Houston's getting their money's worth on Kevin Durant because every time they need a big shot, he's just knocking one down. There was one play where Oubre was like smiling, picking him up, basically at half court. Oubre's like he's not clapping his hands, but he's like nodding at KD and smiling. KD just goes left, crosses over to his right, and knocks a three down in his face, and it's like, he's still got it.
Jeez.
Embiid's moving better. I don't know, maybe he's like 85% of who he was physically, but he's still got like the skills and some of the physical dominance to go get real numbers. And the thing that I've loved about Embiid since he got in the league, as much crap that he gets for like ducking Jokic, like being injured when the Sixers go to Denver. He takes matchups against the best big man in the league extremely personally, and frankly, when he's healthy, I don't think I've ever seen him lose one. Like he always gives Gobert the business, always gave Cat the business. when Cat was on Minnesota, but Embiid's been hurt pretty much the whole time he's been on the Knicks. Owns Miles Turner. Always gives Jokic buckets when he plays. He takes those seriously, and he took the Şengün matchup seriously last night. Knocked him down a couple times. Had a now rare, but what he used to be famous for was his like troll Instagram posts and Twitter posts, and he like kind of trolled Şengün after the game. And Şengün had a rough one, but he's still an excellent player. So that was good. Taking pride in bullying other bigs. The vibes in the building are really good. The Sixers are in the middle of like a 9-game homestand, and the energy is great. But still, you have to keep your eye on the future and be like, it's about VJ and Maxey. As good as much as we can get roped in by like Paul George hustling and Embiid kind of looking like himself, chances are that's not going to get us where we need to go. And this still needs to be a focus on the future, even though we can. I want it to be about the present right now, but I think the Pistons are the team in the East.
Yeah. It's funny, all those vibes you just said about the 76ers, we're feeling none of those in New York these days. This is very dire moments for the Knicks. It's unbelievable. Before I go off on the Knicks, I will say I did see a report, because we've always talked about Houston, will they get point guard help? I saw a report from ESPN. It was funny the way it was worded, but it said, no help is on the way for the Rockets when it comes to point guards. They're going to stick with their team, it seems. I mean, you mentioned KD has been incredible. I'd love to see this team with Fred VanVleet, but obviously this year that's a no-go, so maybe next year. But for the Rockets, just quickly, it does not seem like point guard help is on the way, at least from ESPN. They're saying no one's on the way. Mm-hmm. But flipping it over to the Knicks, both these teams are meeting. This will probably get posted Saturday morning. This Saturday night, Knicks are headed to Philly on that. Vincent just said they're on a 9-game home, little bit of a streak. So the Knicks will be in Philly playing the 76ers. Oh, man, for the Knicks. The Knicks. So they trounced Brooklyn by 60 points, basically, in the last game. That it was coming off being 2-9 for the last 11, so they're now 3-9 in their last 12. The Knicks are in a spot where rumors are floating. Is Cat being traded? Is Mike Brown lost the locker room? Guys are saying, or reports are saying, guys that have not bought into the system. I mean, really, anything you want to say, this Knicks team at this moment just looks lost. Defensively, offensively, and again, they win by 60 against the Brooklyn Nets. Yes, that's nice. I'm not talking about that. That's irrelevant to me. You're supposed to beat the Nets. They always beat the Nets. That's right. I'm talking about the 2-9 stretch that they were on, because I don't know if they're out of it, because I told Vincent this off camera. The game against the 76ers is going to show me a lot. The number one thing for me is, does this team care? Because at too many points during this streak, it looks like they do not care. And I can't for the life of me understand it. I mean, to a degree, I can understand when you shoot 5% or 18% from 3 in a single half. Okay, the shots aren't falling. It's one of those nights where shots aren't falling. But when you don't show any pride defensively for effort, defensively, your effort on the court is lackluster. When Draymond Green punks your guy Cat and you guys chop it up and laugh with him afterwards, and Mike Brown goes into the press conference saying, "Oh, I love him. He's, I understand you're an assistant coach, but you don't do that." The Knicks right now, the latest report this morning, Friday morning, was Ian Begley said, "Yeah, the Knicks, I'm hearing a lot of it's me over we. They haven't bought into, hey, being a team together." And he said, it's funny because last year I heard similar rumblings of that. And then when playoffs came around, it just stopped. He's like, everyone bought in and they focused, and you saw what the Knicks did last year in the playoffs. Like, I don't understand. Does this team believe that they can just flip a switch? I mean, I think they think last year they did. They flipped a switch and they got to the Eastern Conference Finals. Deuce McBride hinted about that afterwards. He said, "Hey, we get complacent. We won last year. We come into this year, we get complacent. We win the cup. Now it's like, everything. We have to have hunger." And the Knicks just, granted, Jalen Brunson was out for a little bit, and Jalen Brunson's always going to show hunger. But if you thought getting embarrassed by the Detroit Pistons on national television was embarrassing,
Embarrassed.
You got blown out by the Dallas Mavericks on national television on MLK Day, NBC, Peacock by 30. The Dallas Mavericks, who had 7 players on their injury list. I think a trade is going to happen. I think the rumors, at least in Knick land, is Yabusele and Pacome Dadier and a couple picks are going to probably go to New Orleans for Jose Alvarado and Yves
Yep.
Misi. I don't know how to pronounce it. A big guy, right? People are comparing him a little bit to Mitchell Robinson. All right, that's cool. Like you get a dog in GTA, you get another big guy. But I said this in the past episode. Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, you guys got to show up. And people are actually saying OG Anunoby is one of those guys that's me over we, which is funny because OG puts the ball on the floor and
Right.
you hold your breath because you think he's going to turn it over. Like, I know you have the biggest contract in Knicks history, but you're not one, you're not number 2. On certain nights, you're not the number 3 guy. Maybe you're the number 4 guy, at least offensively. Defensively, you're going to get the assignments. Everyone loves you for what you do, OG. Don't try and do more. Mikal Bridges, he blows my mind because you should be able to take over the games that Jalen Brunson is out. That should be a Mikal Bridges game. You shoot 9 for 10. He shot, I think it was like 8 for 9 in the first half against the Warriors. And then he took 2 shots in the second half. Why?
Yeah.
And then Cat, I'll just say this on Cat. I do like Karl Anthony Towns. And I don't think they should trade Karl Anthony Towns right now because they're not going to get much for Karl Anthony Towns right now. His stock and where the league is and trying to figure out stars, what they're at. Like I saw someone say, a reporter said, hey, if you want to look at Cat's like return rate, you got to kind of look at the Trae Young trade. Like that's kind of on the par of like you're not getting much back. So you don't trade Cat and say we're getting better. And I saw a report saying the Knicks aren't talking about it. They're going to persevere through Cat for this rough time. Karl Anthony Towns, if you and Mike Brown have an issue, go grab some boxing gloves and squabble. Do something because you guys got to fix this. I've talked about I hate him just being at the top of the key and driving. He gets 3. He averages
Always.
5 fouls a game. 3 of the 5 are offensive fouls. The hook. And Cat has an awful whistle. He does. He gets hacked so much, but his animations, his yelling at the refs, like all that's why you're not getting calls. And then you hook guys. He did it 2 consecutive possessions I do think Cat, we saw what he could do last year. Incredible. They make the Eastern Conference Finals. The Knicks got to buy in. And this game against Philly, hey, Philly's not the Nets. They're not Detroit, but they're in between and they're still a pretty good team. On the road, show me you care. Show me you care. Show me that, the game against the Nets wasn't just a get right, or it was a get right game. And we can say their season kind of changed after that players only meeting, which Josh Hart said they didn't have, but they had. Let me see if you guys actually care. Because, I still think this Knicks team is a top 2 team in the East. I know the Celtics are number 2 or the 2nd seed right now.
Loves it.
If Tatum comes back, which Tatum loves to show the media that he's good to go, he's ready to come back. He had a workout in front of the media last week, and the media people were like, "This is not by coincidence. This is him showing that he's ready to go." But if Tatum comes back, that's going to be trying to fit him into an offense that is gelling right now, right? Boston's just hitting on all peaks. Even if without Tatum, I still like the Knicks if they can lock in. This game against Philly is going to show me so much. Even if you lose, man, you got to show like you care and it's a close game. You can't be blown out like you were in Sacramento, like you were. Golden State was somewhat close, but like you were against Dallas. This Knicks team, I'm at a point where I don't know what to expect with this team, and I hate that about them.
A few things. So first of all, the idea that Cat's trade value is akin to Trae Young's trade value, that's ludicrous. That's someone trying to drive down Cat's trade value. Like that, Cat is obviously more valuable than Trae Young. Players only meeting is in the NFL, it's the angel of death. It is the sign that your team stinks and is probably going to bottom out for a draft pick. Did kind of work for the Miami Dolphins this year. They had the earliest players only meeting I've ever. They had like a week 3 players only meeting this year, which I've never heard of. But they actually finished the season kind of strong. If you guys do if the Celtics, if you guys lose to the Celtics in the playoffs, like say Tatum comes back and you guys lose to the Celtics in the playoffs, that's an abject failure. Like you guys
Oh yeah.
beat them last year
Yep.
with, for the most part, Tatum. Series was pretty much over when Tatum tore his Achilles,
Yeah.
and they have since
Yep.
lost Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis, the main pieces of their title run.
Mhm.
So, and same goes for Detroit. Detroit should be better than Boston. Same kind of goes for the Cavs, considering that they're so all in, and the Celtics are basically taking a gap year and still being really good.
Yep.
Brunson said, "Stop looking at the coaches, start looking in the mirror." Um,
Mhm.
I mean, where are you on this? Like, it's about effort, but there's no way that Cat feels good about Mike Brown. Obviously, like Tibbs was Cat's, he was his guy. He knew how to get, maybe not, I don't know if it was get the best out of him, but he got a lot of good out of Cat. Like, I don't know, man. It's tough to find a solve here outside of. I'm on the trade Cat corner. I'm not the biggest Cat fan. Is there any way? I mean, like, I think there's a good chance, like things keep getting worse in Milwaukee, that Giannis gets shipped out.
Mhm.
Is there any way you can get in on those sweepstakes? But it feels like some kind of heads have to roll if things are going to change.
Yeah. Like I know after the Dallas loss, people were starting to fire Mike Brown already. They're kind of comparing him to Adrian Griffin of the Bucks when Adrian Griffin had the Bucks as the #1 team in the Eastern
That looks
Conference.
pretty awful right now. Yeah.
Right. And like I was going through a rabbit hole that then led to Doc Rivers coming to Milwaukee and like the whole thing. Like, okay, now Giannis wants out of Milwaukee, but whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I've been looking at this because you know me, right? Like Vincent, we went to college. You knew I was a Tibbs guy. I liked Tibbs. I defended Tibbs.
Yeah.
Well, look, yes, he did stuff that was wrong. He should play his bench more, right? Like I still, for the compared to one of our other friends, Justin, I was a pro Tibbs guy, right? Right. Vincent was around us for enough playoff games and Nick
Yeah.
games to know. So I hate to do it because I don't want to be 2020. Oh, should have never fired Tibbs. Well, I said when Tibbs. I don't know if I would do that. I also was saying at the beginning of the year, hey, our offense is humming with Mike Brown. Who cares about the defense? Our defense has been the second worst defense in the league in 2026 this new year. The other 4 out of 5 teams all are lottery teams, like top 5 lottery teams. It's been and obviously now with the Brooklyn game, them scoring 60 something points, it's gonna kind of swing a different way. But it's been horrific. Mike Brown, and this goes to I put out a tweet like this team's just soft. Like they're soft. Like I always laughed at when Laker fans got mad at Darvin Ham for having his hands in his pocket all game and like, dude, what do you do? Like I'm seeing it with Mike Brown. He just okay. We're losing in the Mavericks. And the Mavericks player comes by. Mike Brown's laughing, like daps him up. Like we're down 30, Mike Brown. Like at least Tibbs would show him. Tibbs would get attacked. Tibbs would go after. Like if Cat isn't getting the foul calls, Tibbs is going after the refs. Like the amount of press conferences afterwards, Tibbs is like foul, foul, foul. He's like we send clips every day to the refs for Jalen Brunson and Cat. Mike Brown, I don't know whether it's like the locker room. Obviously, people are saying maybe he doesn't have their backs. Kind of seems like he called Cat out like a week ago, a couple games ago. Then the Draymond Green stuff afterwards. Granted, Cat's dad dapped up Draymond Green after the game. All the Knicks dapped up Draymond Green. I hate
Cat's
it.
dad?
Hate it, but it's the league. Cat's dad dapped him up after the game. Yeah. And I was like, what? And a lot of Knicks were like, come on. But I guess, to each their own. At the end of the day, I still think the Knicks are good with Cat. Like, I still think it can work with Karl Anthony Towns. I just don't know. Like, is it the me over we that's like causing this offense not to be, what Mike Brown wants? Maybe what Mike Brown wants would fix all of this, and the guys are being selfish enough not to do it enough. But like, at least for Mike Brown, I need to see more energy. I need to see you going after some. Like, I can't see you just hands in the pocket. Oh yeah, okay. Like, I've seen videos of you, and maybe he does this in practice. I've seen videos of you in Sacramento yelling at Malik Monk. Tell him to maybe you do that behind the scenes, but man, it's not panic time. It's pretty dang close to panic time. Like, you got to go. You got to push these buttons. He said he had some ideas. You got to do it. I don't know. I want to see the Knicks have a dog on their team. Just show some effort. But yeah, with Cat, I don't know. Like, I truthfully don't know what it's going to take to fix. Like, I think he's so much in his head right now that it's a little scary to try and fix the situation, at least for him. Like, but because he shot 2 air balls against, who was it, the Mavericks or someone the other night. Like, the Suns. We're down, and like we're down like 7, but like 45 seconds to go. Like, he gets a wide open 3, and he shot an air ball earlier in the 4th. Misses everything, and Knicks fans are booing up. Like, I feel bad for the guy, but his play has not been anywhere close. He's not finishing around the rim at all. He was like 60+% last year around the rim. This year he's like 55-56%, like almost like 8 to 10% like down. And then like his 3 has been horrific this year. So I don't know. Maybe it's systematically things aren't aligning, or the fit isn't, really what it is. And I'll just say this last point on Tibbs and Mike Brown. Leon Rose, who I think Leon Rose has done a phenomenal job turning this franchise around. There's been some stuff that hasn't worked, and again, the firing of Tibbs probably came from James Dolan. But at the end of the day, when your top 2 guys, Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, love a coach, I don't know how you fire him. Brunson grew up with Tibbs. Cat has vouched for Tibbs. Josh Hart liked Tibbs. Mikal Bridges did not like Tibbs. Deuce McBride, I don't think liked his role with Tibbs. When the top 2 guys like a coach, I don't think you fire the coach, especially after you get to the Eastern Conference Finals. And I don't want to do 2020 on Tibbs, but when Cat and Brunson say this is the guy, I don't know if you go ahead and fire him. But hey, we're going to see. This Philly game is so important in my opinion. Like, so what, you beat Brooklyn by 60. Let's show something against Philly. So I don't know. It feels like such a weird situation from a month ago when we were celebrating a NBA Cup win.
It's so interesting how like coaches don't really coach when they're when they have like stars on their team. You know what I mean? Like, and this is kind of a Doc Rivers thing. You mentioned Darvin Ham. I remember hearing Austin Rivers talk about how like happy Doc was when he was coaching like Orlando at the beginning of his career, and it was kind of like low stakes, just trying to get the best out of every player. And that's still the goal when you're coaching a team with a bunch of stars, but you can't really coach the guy. There are certain guys who are like made men in the league and they don't want to be coached hard, or that doesn't get the best out of them, and it leads to just hands in pockets, silence. And so I guess that's what you're getting out of Mike Brown, but the Knicks strike me as a team of guys who kind of need to be coached hard. Especially like when you think about like, I don't know, something about like the Villanova thing and the fact that they were just like longtime guys at Villanova, like Bridges and Hart and Brunson. They're used to being coached hard. Like if you've been like a 3-4 year guy who's gotten to a championship in the NCAA, you've been coached hard before. Brunson's dad's a coach. Like all these guys, they might just kind of need a fire lit under their ass that Mike Brown just ain't providing.
Yeah, hey, that's funny. Like last point on this, they actually talked a little about this in a different kind of situation in the LA versus LA game last night. They talked about Jeff Van Gundy and James Harden are like this in LA. Like,
yes,
they were they were kind of don't like. They're talking about it in the sense that all the assistants wear James Harden's gear. James Harden, like it was Jeff Van Gundy's birthday the other day, and he got a cake. He had the whole team sing him happy birthday. And D Wade was talking. D Wade was talking about when he talked to Harden about it, and Harden's like, yeah, like once he got onto the coaching staff, it just connected because he's like, he helps me, but he also keeps it real. And D Wade's like, that's what stars actually want. Like people think, like you said, stars, oh, you can't really talk to them. Stars want to be coached. They've been coached their entire life. Yes, they have more talent or more skills than people. They still want to be coached. And that's, Jeff Van Gundy and James Harden, it doesn't always seem like, that'd be a duo, that'd be a match right there.
Yeah.
But a star that wants to be coached, a coach that wants to coach, there you go. And maybe, like you mentioned, Mike Brown, just for some reason, Knicks, not coaching these guys. I don't know. We're halfway through the season. The Knicks are still the 3 seed. Knicks fans would still sign up for this right now. Obviously, you're underperforming, but 3 seed halfway through the season. I don't know. It'll be interesting, though. We'll see what the Knicks, if they do anything at the trade deadline. I think they will. I don't know. It is what it is. Vincent, what else you got?
By the shout out to the Clippers, dude. The Clippers are up to 20 and 24.
Yeah.
Like they're probably going to go over 500, being a playing spot. Saving everyone from having the Thunder pick in like the top 5. Jeff Van Gundy, James Harden's like Jeff Van Gundy's ideal player. Van Gundy always spoke really highly of him on like broadcasts, and I think in league circles, as they say, he's always held in really high regard. So that makes a lot of sense. So shout out to the Clippers for helping everybody out amidst all their legal trouble. Jimmy tore his ACL. I'm sure you saw that. Jimmy Butler tore his ACL.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much it like changes the trajectory of the Warriors. It'll hurt them like come playoff time, but they're still going to be a mid-tier seed in the West. But like, if you're the Warriors, man, can you guys just trade Steph, please? Can you just do it? Like, and obviously like nobody's getting traded now because of like the second apron and all the messed up trade values. Luka drove everyone's value down. Bridges drove everyone's value up in Bane. And so no one, like the trade market's so messed up right now, but it's just right now Steph's in like his Kobe at the end of his Lakers era. Except Steph's got a lot more good basketball left than Kobe did when things went bad. Kobe was pretty much done after the injury. But Steph survived all the injuries, but he isn't really durable come playoff time. But it's never been more clear that it's over in Golden State. They got their title in 22. Lucky to get that, pretty much. Like they had an awesome run, and they need to drive this thing firmly into the ground. And I said last week, like, if Steve Kerr's pride can't take it as one of the greatest coaches of all time, then let him leave with dignity, and let Steph leave with dignity. Let him go compete somewhere. But yeah, tough looking Golden State.
I saw a report, and again, I don't think this was a legit report. I think it was just one of those basketball accounts. Like, I don't know. Like, again, don't say Luke Backman said that, right? I saw Warriors, could try and make a pitch for Giannis and then try and pair him up with LeBron. Like, even that, like Giannis, like there had always been somewhat rumblings, like the smallest, like what if Giannis and Steph Curry paired up together? Like I've heard, like like, and again, I don't know if the Warriors have what it takes to make that deal, right? If Giannis wants to go to Golden State, in 3 years, Steph's out of the league, maybe, then you're kind of in a bad situation again. But like,
yeah.
Imagine, this is so hypothetical, but imagine a Steph Curry, Giannis, and LeBron next year. Like, again, I 0.0000001% chance that I'd ever even be discussed, but that'd be fun. That'd be a fun way for Steph Curry to end his years in the NBA, and LeBron for that matter.
What would the rest of the roster look like? Like Daniel House at shooting guard. Like it would be bare bones.
For that,
G League guys.
Well, Draymond would take, the vet's minimum, cut in
to
half
play with
LeBron, right? So, like, you still got Draymond. Maybe just go 4-on-5 at that point. Draymond might punch everybody out the game on the other team to make.
Yeah, he'll take someone with him. Yeah.
Right. So,
that'd be sick.
Yeah. No. Unfortunate for Jimmy Butler. Again, sad for Jimmy Butler. For the Warriors, I don't see it. Like I didn't say, there goes the Warriors' chance. They were a first-round team. They were old. Jimmy Butler was the other guy to step. It's just like, that's unfortunate for Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Anything else you got?
There was a report that per Mark Stein now Ja doesn't want to be traded. So I think he just like stepped outside and saw that no one wanted him, and was like, you know what? I actually want to stay. I don't know how much Memphis wants him to stay. It was kind of like, you remember when this is kind of a niche internet reference, but you remember when Dell and Sonya got divorced? The Currys?
Oh, yeah.
They got divorced, and one of the greatest Twitter threads of all time, it was just this one dude being like, you don't want to be out here. Saying this to Dell. And it's like a 20-tweet thread where it's like you don't
Yeah.
want to know what they're doing out here. You don't want to essentially saying, you don't want to be single right now. To Dell, like the grass is not greener, Dell. Um, that's basically what happened to Ja. I think that's how I'm making this metaphor work. Ja stepped outside and everyone was like, "You don't want to be out here, man," which is true. You don't want to be in the trade market right now. It's pretty disgusting. But Ja might not have a say because I'd imagine Memphis is planning on cutting ties either way.
He actually he had a few good games. They played out in they had the Berlin game
The
that we
Berlin game.
recorded during. Anthony Black dunked on the entire team.
Yep,
That was insane.
that's sick.
But Giannis, I mean, not Giannis. Ja didn't play that game, but played the next game because they were in London. They were doing a world tour or whatever. Ja actually had a pretty good game there, and then came back and had another. I think he had like a 23 points, 12 boards, or 12. Like he had a double double. I think so. It's like, all right, there's some Ja Morant, but I think for Ja Morant, the Heat have always been the team that could be it. The Heat don't want to mess up any chance that they could get Giannis.
Exactly.
So if they think they have a 5% chance of getting Giannis, that 5% chance I think is much, you take that over, trading your assets for Ja Morant right now. So I think like Miami's in that everywhere is in that weird phase of, yes, Giannis isn't going back to Milwaukee, but like if Giannis says, I only want to go to New York, maybe Miami pulls the trigger on a Ja trade. But if Giannis is like, you know what, I'm open to a trade wherever, Miami's like, we're not giving away our assets for Ja Morant when we could make a push for Giannis. So it's that weird spot where it's like, yeah, Ja, we know Memphis doesn't really want you anymore. They want to break it up. You really don't want to be in Memphis. I don't care what your agent says. But like you said, you don't want to be out there because at the moment, no one really wants you. And but because of not only his abilities, but just the trade market and what they're waiting for. And that's the big fish, Giannis Antetokounmpo. So interesting. Last point here. It's funny. This is just a throwback, and we talk about this for 30 seconds. I was listening to a Riley Rodriguez song, and then watching the Clippers and the Rockets, and then talking about Kyrie. Like again, this is just like came to my mind. Like we really had a basketball season where Kyrie Irving was trying to play only road games.
Yeah. And it felt like
the lyric in the song was like, I never home, I'm like Kyrie. And it hit me. I was like, a championship quality team, like contender team, was trying to play with their second best player only playing road games for an entire season.
There's a lot of stuff.
Like
there's a lot of stuff from like pandemic era that I look back on and I'm like, the world went insane. You know what I mean? And like basketball world not exempt. And look, the world's still pretty insane right now, but some of the stuff that was going on back then, oh my God.
I know, like I think that was either our freshman or sophomore year at Syracuse. But it's like I college to think about like it's like I'm at like I don't know. I just like thought about that again. I was like those Brooklyn teams on paper obviously is one thing. Should have been nice, nicer than they were, but Kyrie really tried to only play road games, and for a little bit was only playing road games. What a league!
Crazy.
What a league and what a history. Hey, I think that's all we got here from Court Vision today. Hit a lot of different things. I know All-Star, the entire rosters and the reserves will be revealed on the 1st, so that's about a week and a half away or something like that. So that will be announced on February 1st, and we'll see. I mean, I talked about the Knicks. They could maybe be in the market sooner rather than later. They got that important game, in my opinion, against the 76ers coming up on Saturday. Any parting words you got, Vincent?
I'm excited for the All-Star break because I want Tyrese Maxey to get some rest. And honestly, I know we all want a competitive All-Star game, but I need that dude to just like lay on a beach somewhere for a while.
That's fair game. I've been Luke Backman here. Again, subscribe to Backman Sports here for Court Vision. Vincent Zakian, his channel, Vincent Zakian, in the description below. NFL content, all content. Go over and subscribe to his channel. Hey, for Court Vision, that's all we got. Peace. We're out.